In the sleepy town of Villisca, Iowa, the year 1912 would mark a grim chapter in its history. On a warm summer night, an unthinkable tragedy unfolded, a crime so horrifying that it continues to send shivers down the spine of those who hear its tale. The Villisca Axe Murders remain one of America's most chilling unsolved mysteries, a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind even the most innocent facades. The house at 508 East 2nd Street was once a symbol of simple, rural life. It was home to the Moore family, Josiah, his wife Sarah, and their 4 children. The family was well-liked, active in the community, and seemingly unremarkable in their daily lives. But on the night of June 9th, their home became the stage for a nightmare no one could have foreseen. When the Moores failed to appear for church the next morning, neighbors grew concerned. A local man, tasked with checking on the family, stumbled upon a scene of unspeakable horror. 8 bodies were discovered, the entire Moore family and 2 young guests, Lena and Ina Stillinger, all brutally bludgeoned to death with an axe. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community, shattering its sense of safety. The crime scene was a grotesque tableau. The murderer had moved methodically, ensuring no one in the house survived. Windows were covered, mirrors draped in cloth, as if the killer sought to conceal their gruesome acts from even their own reflection. A bloodied axe was left behind, a grim token of the atrocity committed within those walls. As investigators delved into the case, they uncovered eerie details that added layers to the horror. Unfinished meals sat on the dining table, and a lamp was carefully placed at the foot of the bed where Josiah and Sarah's bodies lay. It seemed the killer had taken their time, undisturbed, moving through the house with a chilling calmness. Suspects emerged, each more puzzling than the last. From a transient preacher to a disgruntled business associate, the leads pointed in every direction but resolved none. The case quickly became a media frenzy, drawing national attention. Yet, despite countless interrogations and trials, the identity of the axe-wielding murderer remained shrouded in mystery. Decades passed, but the haunting aura of the Villisca Axe Murders never faded. The house, preserved as it was on that fateful night, became a grim tourist attraction. Visitors reported strange occurrences, phantom footsteps, whispers in the dark, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Paranormal investigators flocked to the site, convinced the spirits of the victims still lingered, trapped by the violence of their demise. Today, the Villisca Axe Murder House stands as a chilling testament to the unknown. It serves as both a historical landmark and a macabre reminder of the fragility of life. For some, it's a place of morbid curiosity. For others, it's a warning of the evil that can hide in plain sight. As the years roll on, the story of Villisca endures, its unanswered questions gnawing at those who dare to delve into its shadows. Who could commit such an atrocity, and why? The lack of answers only deepens the terror, leaving an unsettling feeling that the killer could have been anyone: a neighbor, a friend, or even a stranger passing through. The Villisca Axe Murders are more than a historical crime. They're a spectral presence that continues to haunt Iowa. The house at 508 East 2nd Street is a silent witness to an unspeakable act, its walls echoing the cries of the past. And as long as the mystery remains unsolved, its story will linger, a chilling reminder of humanity's darkest capabilities. Whispers in the dark. The unseen presence of Villisca. In the quiet corners of Villisca, Iowa, the air carries a weight that defies explanation. To the untrained eye, it is just another small American town. But those who dare to look closer know better. Beneath its unassuming surface lies a story of restless spirits and a lingering darkness that refuses to be forgotten. The whispers in the dark are not merely figments of imagination. They are echoes of a tragedy that scarred this town forever. The infamous house on 2nd Street stands as a sentinel of the past. Its whitewashed walls and creaking floorboards betray no secrets at first glance. Yet, as night falls, the air within grows heavy, and an undeniable chill creeps into the bones of anyone who dares to enter. Those who've spent time in its haunted confines often speak of an unseen presence, a watcher lurking just beyond the edge of perception. The whispers begin faintly, barely audible, like the rustle of leaves in the wind. But as the night deepens, they grow more insistent. Disembodied voices call out in tones both sorrowful and chilling, as though the spirits themselves are trapped in an eternal loop, reliving their final moments. Paranormal investigators claim these whispers are the cries of the Moore family, their restless souls unable to move on from the horrors that befell them. Visitors have reported feeling unseen eyes following their every move. Shadows flit across the walls, though no source of light or movement can be found. Doors creak open on their own, and cold spots manifest in the most unexpected places. The house seems alive, as if it's breathing, waiting, and watching. Every step taken within its confines feels like an intrusion, as though one is trespassing on sacred, albeit cursed, ground. Legends of the Villisca Axe Murders have woven themselves into the fabric of the town. Locals speak in hushed tones of the watcher, a spectral figure said to linger near the house. Some believe it is the murderer, doomed to haunt the site of their heinous act. Others think it is a guardian spirit, standing vigil over the victims. Whatever the truth, the presence is undeniable, and its motives remain as enigmatic as the crime itself. The whispers are not confined to the house alone. Those who live nearby have reported eerie occurrences, lights flickering without cause, strange knocks on their doors in the dead of night, and inexplicable cold drafts wafting through sealed windows. It is as though the darkness radiates outward, touching everything in its vicinity with its malevolent energy. For skeptics, the whispers and sightings are mere tales spun from overactive imaginations. But for those who have experienced them firsthand, there is no doubt. The house holds a power that defies explanation, a nexus of sorrow and fear that transcends the physical realm. The whispers are a reminder that some tragedies leave marks far deeper than bloodstains on wooden floors. In the stillness of the Villisca nights, the whispers in the dark grow louder, weaving a tale of anguish and unanswered questions. Each sound is a plea, each shadow a fragment of a story left untold. And as long as the unseen presence lingers, the town of Villisca will never truly know peace. The unseen remains seen, and the whispers remain heard, forever echoing through the haunted air. Echoes of the Axe. A town's eternal nightmare, Villisca, a name that resonates with an eerie chill, forever entwined with one of the most haunting mysteries in American history. On a fateful summer night in 1912, the small Iowa town fell prey to a darkness so profound that its echoes linger over a century later. The Villisca Axe Murders became more than a crime. They became a legend, an eternal nightmare etched into the fabric of the town's identity. The Moore family home was once a sanctuary of warmth and joy. Josiah and Sarah Moore, along with their 4 children, were well-respected members of the community. On that dreadful night, the Moore family, along with 2 young guests, Lena and Ina Stillinger, became victims of a brutality that defied comprehension. 8 lives were extinguished in a single night, their fates sealed by the blade of an axe. The crime scene was a tableau of horror. Each victim lay in their bed, their lives taken as they slept. The murderer moved with chilling precision, covering mirrors and windows, as though to hide the monstrous deeds from even their own reflection. A sense of malice lingered in every corner, as though the walls themselves bore witness to the unspeakable. For the people of Villisca, the aftermath was a descent into paranoia and fear. Neighbors became suspects, trust eroded, and whispers of suspicion spread like wildfire. Theories ranged from vengeful locals to transient killers passing through on the railway. But despite numerous investigations and trials, no one was ever convicted. The identity of the axe-wielding assailant remained an enigma, and with it, the town's sense of safety was forever shattered. Time did little to heal the wounds. The house where the murders occurred became a macabre symbol of the tragedy. Abandoned and decaying, it seemed to hold the weight of its dark history within its walls. Paranormal investigators and thrill-seekers who dared to enter often reported unsettling phenomena, unexplained footsteps, faint cries, and the oppressive feeling of being watched. The house's reputation grew, cementing its place as one of the most haunted locations in the United States. The echoes of the axe reverberate, not only in the house but throughout Villisca. The townsfolk carry the burden of their history, the story passed down through generations. Children grow up hearing the chilling tale, their imaginations painted with visions of shadowy figures and ghostly whispers. It's a history that binds the community together, even as it serves as a reminder of their shared nightmare. Historians and criminologists have pored over the details of the case, hoping to uncover the truth. Yet, the passage of time has only deepened the mystery. Missing evidence, conflicting testimonies, and the lack of modern forensic techniques leave the case frozen in uncertainty. The unanswered questions form a dark tapestry, with threads of sorrow, fear, and unanswered justice woven tightly together. Some believe that the spirits of the victims remain, tethered to the site of their demise. Visitors claim to hear laughter that turns to sobbing, to see fleeting apparitions of children playing in the shadows. Whether these are the imaginings of overactive minds or genuine encounters, the supernatural has become inseparable from the story of Villisca. As the years roll on, the Villisca Axe Murders continue to captivate and terrify. Documentaries, books, and paranormal investigations keep the story alive, ensuring it remains etched in public consciousness. But for the people of Villisca, it is more than a tale. It is a legacy of pain, a reminder of the fragility of peace and the depths of human darkness. The echoes of the axe are more than sounds. They are memories, fears, and unresolved questions that haunt not just a house, but an entire town. And until the mystery is solved, if it ever can be, Villisca will remain cloaked in the shadow of its eternal nightmare. The Shadows of 2nd Street. Secrets of a haunted house on 2nd Street. Where time seems to stand still, a house looms that no one dares call home. Its weathered facade and shattered windows tell stories of neglect, but the true tale lies within its crumbling walls. The Shadows of 2nd Street weave a narrative of sorrow, fear, and secrets that refuse to die. Those who venture too close speak of a palpable darkness and evil that breathes and whispers, waiting for its next victim. The house was once the pride of the neighborhood, a sprawling Victorian structure that symbolized wealth and stability. But as decades passed, its grandeur faded, and with it came rumors of tragedy. Its halls, once filled with laughter, now echo with the muffled cries of the past. Neighbors have long abandoned the area after claiming to see shadowy figures moving behind the boarded windows, their shapes distorted and inhuman. Locals recount a chilling history. The house was the site of a grisly crime, though no one agrees on the details. Some say a family was slaughtered in the dead of night, their cries drowned out by a violent storm. Others whisper of rituals gone wrong, summoning something that should never have been disturbed. Whatever the truth, the house's curse has persisted for generations. The shadows inside are more than just tricks of the light. They have substance, a form that shifts and twists as if alive. Visitors describe a feeling of being watched, an oppressive weight pressing against their chest, making every breath a struggle. Some claim the shadows speak in hushed tones, their words incomprehensible but undeniably menacing. It's as though the house itself is alive, feeding off fear and despair. Paranormal investigators have flocked to the site, armed with cameras and recording devices. Many have left with chilling evidence, photographs marred by dark, swirling shapes, audio recordings of guttural growls, and sudden, inexplicable power failures. Yet, for all their efforts, they have no answers. The secrets of the house remain locked away, hidden in the shadows that dominate its every corner. One theory suggests that the house is a portal, a gateway between worlds where malevolent spirits wander freely. Witnesses speak of sudden temperature drops, disembodied hands brushing against their skin, and doors slamming shut with no apparent cause. These accounts have only fueled the legend, turning the house into a local lore that few dare to test. Those who've spent the night there, the brave or the foolish, rarely speak of their experiences. When they do, their voices tremble with unspoken terror. Some never return to 2nd Street, leaving behind only cryptic warnings. It watches. Don't look into the mirrors. The shadows are hungry. The townsfolk's unease is not unwarranted. Animals refuse to approach the house. Birds fall silent near its perimeter. Even the wind seems to avoid it, as if nature itself shuns the place. Over the years, fires have mysteriously started and extinguished on their own, and structural repairs collapse, as though rejected by the very ground. 2nd Street's haunted house stands as a chilling reminder of the unknown. Its shadows hold stories too horrific to recount, secrets too dangerous to reveal. The brave may attempt to uncover them, but the house's darkness has a way of swallowing curiosity whole. And so, the house waits, its secrets buried within its shadows, daring anyone to step inside and unravel the horrors of 2nd Street. Haunted evidence. The ghosts of unsolved crimes in the eerie silence of abandoned crime scenes, where time seems to stand still, there lies a chilling truth that refuses to fade away. These places, once filled with life, now echo with the unsettling whispers of the past. The ghosts of unsolved crimes linger, their restless spirits haunting the very evidence that remains behind, waiting for someone to unlock their terrifying secrets. The notion of haunted evidence is as perplexing as it is spine-chilling. As investigators comb through old files, photographs, and physical traces of crimes long since forgotten, they sometimes encounter inexplicable anomalies, faint whispers on recordings, shadowy figures in photographs, or inexplicable cold spots in rooms once occupied by the victims. Some believe that the souls of the wronged cannot find peace, bound to the remnants of their suffering. These restless spirits seem to send cryptic messages through the very evidence that has yet to reveal the full story. Throughout history, there have been countless unsolved crimes, each one with its own tale of mystery, pain, and despair. As these cases go cold, the evidence left behind becomes a haunting reminder of justice denied. There are reports of detectives and officers revisiting these cases, only to experience unsettling phenomena. The fingerprints left on glass or the stains on a wall become more than just forensic markers. They are the lingering presence of something beyond the physical realm, a grim reminder that not all mysteries are meant to be solved in the conventional way. One case that has baffled investigators for decades is the infamous Black Dahlia murder in Los Angeles. Elizabeth Short's brutal death in 1947 remains unsolved to this day, but the eerie connection between her case and the supernatural cannot be ignored. Many claim that the evidence surrounding her death, the torn body, the cryptic letters, and the unsettling photographs taken at the crime scene carry an unnatural weight. The room where her body was discovered has since become a site of strange occurrences, with witnesses claiming to hear faint cries and see flickers of movement where there should be none. Another chilling tale involves the disappearance of a young woman named Jennifer Kessie. Her case remains unsolved, and the surveillance footage that captured her last known moments has become a focal point of the investigation. However, some say there's something off about the footage glitches that appear to reveal more than just a woman walking alone. Some have claimed that the images show fleeting shadows, hints of a presence watching her every step, as if the very evidence itself is being manipulated by unseen forces. In smaller towns and isolated locations, the ghostly presence of unsolved crimes is often felt more acutely. Residents of these areas speak in hushed tones about long-forgotten murders, with some swearing that they can still hear the echoes of cries for help. The scattered remnants of these crimes, blood-stained clothes, broken windows, and unexamined files are said to carry an eerie energy, one that ties the living to the unresolved tragedies of the past. As people walk by these sites, they claim to feel a chilling sensation, as if someone or something is watching them. The question arises, do the ghosts of unsolved crimes haunt the living, or do the living simply fail to let go of the past? Perhaps it is the very act of searching for answers, of constantly revisiting these horrors, that keeps the spirits bound to their earthly torment. Investigators may uncover more clues, but with each step forward, the eerie presence of these unresolved cases only seems to grow stronger. In some cases, the only way to break the haunting cycle is to finally uncover the truth. The missing pieces of the puzzle, the final confession, or the breakthrough evidence, whatever it may be, could be the key to laying the spirits to rest. Until then, these ghostly remnants of crime scenes will continue to linger in the shadows, waiting for someone brave enough to confront their haunted past. As modern technology advances, so too does our ability to uncover the darkest secrets of the past. DNA analysis, new forensic techniques, and digital reconstruction all offer new hope for solving cold cases. Yet, for some crimes, the ghosts seem to resist even the most sophisticated of investigations. Perhaps the supernatural aspect of these cases is a reflection of humanity's deepest fears, the fear that some truths are too terrible to face and that some souls are doomed to remain lost in the labyrinth of unsolved crimes forever. These haunting echoes of the past serve as a reminder that justice, once denied, can never truly be forgotten. No matter how much time passes or how much evidence is uncovered, some crimes leave a mark on the world, and sometimes it is this mark, this haunting presence, that continues to shape the lives of those who dare to seek the truth. The ghosts of unsolved crimes remain in the shadows, waiting for the day when someone will finally hear their cries and bring their stories to light. In the end, these haunted cases remind us of the fragile nature of justice. For every case that is solved, there are countless others that remain mysteries, their ghosts lingering in the darkness. Until those final pieces are found, and the spirits are laid to rest, the evidence of the past will continue to haunt us, urging us to seek the truth, no matter how terrifying it may be. Through the killer's eyes, the Villisca tragedy retold. In the suffocating silence of a moonless night, the killer's footsteps crept along the wooden floorboards of Villisca's most unassuming home. The scene, frozen in time by fear and the macabre, is now revisited through a chilling lens, the eyes of the murderer. What thoughts churned within the mind of the shadow that brought doom to the Moore family? The answers remain shrouded in darkness, but their echoes persist, whispering tales of malice and unspoken horrors. The axe rested in the intruder's grip, cold and unwavering. Each step taken toward the sleeping victims was deliberate, a march of death imbued with purpose. The killer's gaze shifted across the room, catching faint glimmers of moonlight on the innocent faces of the family. Perhaps there was a moment of hesitation, a fleeting second, where humanity threatened to pierce through the veil of monstrosity. If such a moment existed, it was brief and powerless against the overwhelming tide of rage. The first blow was swift, cruel, and final. The sound of metal striking flesh reverberated through the stillness, an unholy symphony composed in a single instant. The killer's eyes, devoid of remorse, watched as the life drained from one victim to the next. The room's shadows seemed to grow thicker, wrapping the house in a suffocating blanket of dread. Each act of violence was methodical, an eerie display of control cloaked in chaos. Through the killer's eyes, the house transformed into a theater of terror. Mirrors were draped with cloth, windows were concealed, as if to hide the unfolding horror from the outside world. Yet, it wasn't shame that motivated these actions, it was power. The killer sought dominance, not just over the victims but over the very essence of light and reflection, snuffing out even the faintest reminder of innocence. Lena Stillinger, the eldest guest, stirred in her sleep, her subconscious sensing the encroaching danger. The killer's focus shifted, a predator's gaze locking onto its prey. Her resistance, however fleeting, added fuel to the fire of brutality. The intruder's actions became more frenzied, each strike a desperate attempt to silence defiance. Through those unfeeling eyes, her struggle was not a plea for survival, but an interruption to the gruesome symphony. When the final victim lay motionless, the killer lingered. The house's stillness was broken only by shallow, controlled breaths. Through those eyes, the scene was not one of regret or reflection, but of accomplishment. The intruder's gaze scanned the blood-soaked walls and shattered lives, and a grotesque sense of completion settled in. The axe, once an ordinary tool, was now an extension of their dark will. Before slipping into the night, the killer ensured their presence would be eternal. Items were moved, cryptic symbols were left behind, and every detail was meticulously crafted to leave an indelible mark. Through those eyes, the act was not just a crime but a statement, a declaration of power that would haunt Villisca for generations. The town awoke to the horror. But the killer's eyes were long gone, vanished into the shadows from whence they came. What remained were questions, endless, torturous questions that the living would wrestle with for decades. Through the eyes of Villisca's residents, the tragedy became an unsolvable puzzle, a nightmare etched into their collective soul. To this day, the house remains, steeped in its sinister legacy. The killer's eyes may never be found, but their gaze lingers, etched into the walls, reflected in the mirrors that once bore witness. And as the years pass, Villisca's eternal question persists: what did the killer see, and why did they choose to unleash such unimaginable darkness? An oath to silence. The forgotten witness of Villisca, Iowa, is a town burdened with the weight of its haunted history. Beneath its calm exterior lies a dark secret, a chilling tale of brutality and unspeakable horror that continues to echo through the years. In the small, modest house on the corner of 2nd Street, an entire family was butchered in their sleep. Josiah and Sarah Moore, their 4 children, and 2 visiting friends. The year was 1912, and though the crime remains unsolved, the terror lingers. But what most people don't know, what few dare to speak of, is the forgotten witness, the one who survived the carnage and has remained silent ever since, bound by an oath that haunts the very foundation of Villisca. That night, as the moon hung heavy in the sky, a young girl named Lydia Moore awoke to a sound she couldn't place. The house, typically filled with laughter and life, was unnervingly still. When she heard the shuffle of footsteps near her bed, she froze. But what she couldn't have known was that the man who stood over her, watching, was the same person who had already taken the lives of her family. Lydia's life was spared that night, though no one knows exactly why. The police would later discover her, still asleep, as the killer moved on to his next victim. To this day, she's never spoken a word about that night, a silence that has only added to the eerie aura surrounding the case. Lydia's silence became a curse, one that followed her into adulthood. As investigators pieced together the horrific events of that fateful night, they uncovered that Lydia had been found alive, but in a state of shock, her mind unwilling to grasp the horror she had witnessed. Despite being the sole survivor, she never once spoke of what had happened. The questions piled up, but Lydia remained an enigma. Some say that the trauma of the events left her unable to speak. Others claim she made an oath to silence, made in the face of something so monstrous that it was beyond human comprehension. The house, now a shadow of its former self, has become a site of dark fascination. Those who visit often feel the weight of its past, as if the walls themselves are whispering secrets. It's said that the faintest sound of a child's voice can be heard, echoing through the rooms where the murders took place. The moans, the footsteps, the creaks of old wood, these are not just the sounds of an old house, but the desperate cries of the lost souls trapped within. Some believe that Lydia's spirit is one of those souls, wandering the house, forever bound by her unspoken promise. Her silence has become a part of the house's curse. As years passed, rumors began to circulate about Lydia. She would occasionally be seen near the house, staring at the windows as if drawn to something inside. Those who encountered her reported an eerie calm in her eyes, as if she were lost in some distant memory, a memory that could never be shared. Some even claimed to have seen her standing at the foot of the stairs, her figure faint and ghostly, as though she had never truly left the house. It was as if her spirit was tethered there, not by choice, but by the weight of an unspoken oath. The legend of Lydia Moore grew, and so did the darkness that surrounded her. Over the years, the house has been visited by countless paranormal investigators, each hoping to uncover the truth. Yet, no one has ever been able to fully explain the strange occurrences that plague the property. Equipment malfunctions, inexplicable cold spots, and a heavy sense of dread fill the air whenever the house is disturbed. And among those who dare to enter, there are whispers of a figure in the corner of the room, a child's voice calling out for help, and the unmistakable sound of someone breathing softly in the darkness. One night, an investigator named Thomas Riley entered the Villisca house alone. As he explored the rooms, his equipment began to act strangely. His flashlight flickered, casting long shadows across the walls. And then, through the eerie silence, he heard a soft, almost imperceptible whisper. It was him. The words came from nowhere, yet they seemed to fill the room. Thomas felt a chill grip his heart, as if someone was standing right behind him. He turned, but no one was there. The hairs on the back of his neck stood on end, as he realized the whisper had not come from a living source. It was as though the house itself was speaking, carrying the weight of a long-held secret that no one was meant to hear. Lydia's absence of speech, her vow to silence, has left many wondering, did she truly know the identity of the killer? Was she the last living witness to the horror that took place in Villisca? And if so, why has she never broken her silence? Some say that in her silence, she holds the key to the town's darkest mystery. But others fear that speaking the truth, even now, would unleash a nightmare far worse than anyone can imagine. The curse of the Moors, and the legacy of Lydia's vow, is one that has never been fully understood, nor has it ever been broken. The town of Villisca remains haunted by more than just the memories of a crime unsolved. It is haunted by the silence of the forgotten witness, the girl who saw it all but chose not to speak. And now, as the house stands still, its secrets hidden behind closed doors, the whispers of that fateful night continue to drift through the town, urging those who dare to listen to uncover the truth. But some secrets, it seems, were never meant to be told. Lydia's oath to silence remains unbroken, and with it, the dark past of Villisca will forever be bound by a promise that echoes through the ages. The Phantom Witness. Clues from beyond the grave. In the realm of unsolved mysteries, there are cases where the living can only guess, and the dead seem to be the only ones who know the truth. These eerie tales are not of spirits that merely haunt, but of those who return with a purpose, seeking justice for the wrongs that were never righted in life. The stories of the Phantom Witness, those who provide clues from beyond the grave, have become a chilling part of criminal lore. There are those who believe that the dead can reach out from the afterlife, offering cryptic messages, shadowy figures, and even clues to the killers who thought they would never be caught. One such case is the haunting tale of a woman named Emily Montgomery, whose brutal murder in 1925 left the small town of Crestwood in shock. Emily was found in her home, strangled, with no signs of forced entry or struggle. The police were baffled, no motive, no witnesses, and no suspects. But as the investigation grew cold, strange things began to happen. Neighbors reported hearing soft whispers late at night, coming from Emily's house, though it had been locked up for months. Others claimed to have seen the silhouette of a woman standing by the window, staring out into the empty streets. The breakthrough came when Emily's closest friend, Margaret, was woken in the middle of the night by an overwhelming feeling of dread. In a vivid dream, Emily appeared to her face pale and filled with sorrow. Emily whispered one word, Pinewood, and then vanished. Margaret, shaken to her core, decided to follow this strange message. She went to the local cemetery, where a pine tree stood in the corner, next to a row of unmarked graves. There, beneath the roots of the tree, she found a hidden box containing a blood-stained letter. The letter contained the name of Emily's killer, the very man who had been posing as a grieving friend the entire time. The confession was sealed, and Emily's restless spirit finally found peace. But Emily Montgomery's case is far from the only one where the dead seem to offer clues. There are many others where witnesses from beyond the grave have provided vital information to solve the most baffling of crimes. In one particularly unsettling case, a young woman named Sarah Blackwell was found murdered in her apartment, the scene suggesting a robbery gone wrong. The police were stumped, unable to find any leads. However, one of Sarah's close friends began to experience strange dreams. In the dreams, Sarah appeared to her, holding up a torn piece of fabric and pointing towards a local alleyway. Following the dream, Sarah's friend ventured into the alley, where she found a piece of the missing fabric wedged between two trash cans. The fabric led the police to a suspect, a former lover who had been hiding in plain sight. When confronted, the man confessed to the crime, explaining that his guilt had haunted him ever since the night of the murder. As the case closed, Sarah's friend couldn't help but feel that her late friend had been watching over her, guiding her to the truth. In some of these mysterious tales, the dead do not appear as full-bodied apparitions, but as fleeting figures moving through the periphery of the living. These phantom witnesses often leave behind faint signs: a cold breeze, a shadow crossing a room, or even the inexplicable sound of footsteps. One investigator recalled his experience with a haunting in the town of Black Hollow, where a series of murders remained unsolved for years. At night, the investigator would hear footsteps behind him as he walked the streets, though no one was ever seen. But when he reviewed the case files, he noticed a strange detail: each murder had occurred on the same street where the footsteps seemed to echo. The link between the phantom footsteps and the murders led the investigator to a stunning revelation. The killer had been a long-forgotten resident of Black Hollow, who had died years earlier, but whose spirit seemed to still walk the streets, leaving behind clues to his identity. The investigator followed the trail left by the footsteps and uncovered the chilling truth: a hidden room beneath an old building, where the killer's journals were discovered, detailing the murders he had committed. The killer had been a ghost, leaving behind his final, haunting witness account from beyond the grave. But not all phantom witnesses are as helpful. Some appear simply to torment those who remain alive, as though seeking to drag them into the grave with them. There are accounts of families who have suffered the loss of a loved one, only to be haunted by the restless spirit of that very person. They appear in dreams, giving unsettling hints about their death, or they leave behind cryptic messages, urging those left behind to seek the truth. These spectral figures seem to take pleasure in tormenting the living, as if punishing them for not finding justice. One such tale comes from the town of Redstone, where a young man named Thomas O'Reilly was murdered in a brutal hit-and-run accident. The driver was never caught, and the case went cold. However, Thomas' family began to experience strange occurrences. His mother would hear his voice calling her name at night, and his sister saw him standing at the foot of her bed. One night, she awoke to find a small note tucked beneath her pillow: 2 words, Carter's Lane. Armed with this cryptic message, the family investigated the area and discovered a hidden camera that had captured the license plate of the car involved in the accident. The driver was finally apprehended, and justice was served. But Thomas' ghost remained a haunting presence, forever tied to the place where his life was stolen. These tales of the phantom witness are not merely stories, they are warnings. Warnings that some cases, no matter how cold or forgotten, will not stay buried. The dead will find a way to reach out, seeking justice for the wrongs that were never righted. Whether through whispers in the dark, vivid dreams, or shadowy figures in the corner of one's eye, the dead have a way of making their presence known. And for those brave enough to listen, they may just find that the answers they seek are coming from beyond the grave. Beyond the bloodstains, unveiling Villisca's dark past. Villisca, Iowa, is a small town, quiet by day, but its streets are shrouded in an unsettling calm by night. The town holds a sinister secret, one that has refused to fade with time. Behind the veneer of peacefulness lies the horrifying history of the Villisca Axe Murders. The house where the gruesome killings took place is still standing, its windows darkened by the weight of its past. Those who dare to step inside speak of an air thick with dread, as though the very walls are soaked in the terror that once gripped the victims. The bloodstains, now faded, tell a story far more terrifying than the passing of years can erase. The night of June 9th, 1912, still echoes in the hearts of those who remember. In that house, an entire family, Josiah and Sarah Moore, their 4 children, and 2 visiting children were slaughtered in their sleep, each victim bludgeoned to death with an axe. The horrific scene that followed is a mystery that has haunted the town ever since. The killers vanished into the night, leaving no trace of their identity. The bloodstains, which once marred the floors, serve as a macabre reminder of the family's brutal end. But it's not just the stains that linger in the house. It's the restless spirits of those who perished, their souls bound to the scene of their untimely deaths. Visitors who venture into the Villisca Axe Murder house often report strange occurrences. The temperature inside drops unnaturally, and whispers seem to drift through the rooms where the murders took place. Some say they can hear the soft shuffle of footsteps, as if someone is walking behind them, only to turn and find no one there. Others have claimed to feel cold hands brush against their shoulders, or an unexplainable pressure in the air, like the presence of unseen entities. Over the years, the house has become a macabre tourist attraction, with thrill seekers and paranormal investigators flocking to uncover the truth behind the killings. But no matter how many times the house is searched or investigated, the answers remain elusive. One investigator recounts his chilling experience in the house. "I felt a presence in that room, something watching me, almost as if the victims themselves were still there. It was like the house had absorbed their pain, and now it was trying to communicate it to me." But what do these restless spirits want? What is it that they seek from those who enter their domain? As the years have passed, new theories have emerged about the identity of the killer. Was it a local man with a dark past? Or was the axe-wielding killer an outsider, a shadowy figure who slipped through the cracks of time? Some believe the answer lies within the strange details of the case. A bloody fingerprint was found on the axe, yet it matched no known suspects. The killer's identity remains a mystery, and some say that until it is uncovered, the spirits will continue to haunt the house, their cries for justice unanswered. Locals often speak of the strange happenings around Villisca. Dogs refuse to enter the town at night, howling and cowering at the thought of walking near the old house. People who have lived in the area for generations claim they've felt the presence of something dark, something evil, lurking in the shadows. The house itself seems to hold an unsettling energy, one that refuses to be contained, no matter how much time passes. It's as though the land itself bears the scars of the violence that took place there. There are those who believe the spirits of the victims have never found peace. They are trapped, bound to the house by the brutal way they died. One paranormal researcher, who spent a night alone in the house, recalled, "I asked the spirits to show themselves, to give us a sign, and in response, I heard a faint voice say my name. I was alone in the house, but I wasn't alone." Some visitors claim they've seen the shadowy figure of a young child peeking around corners, or the ghostly outline of a woman standing near the staircase. The air grows heavy, thick with the sense of something unfinished, something lost. Yet, despite the fear and the darkness that cling to the house, there are those who believe that the house holds more than just ghosts. They believe it is a portal, a place where the past and present merge, where the living and the dead are connected in ways beyond comprehension. Some claim that the events of June 9th, 1912, are forever imprinted in the house, and those who enter are drawn into the chilling remnants of that night. The house, they say, is alive with the energy of what happened there, a constant reminder of the horror that took place. Beyond the bloodstains, beyond the whispers and the chilling experiences, the truth remains elusive. Was the killer ever brought to justice? Theories abound, but none have ever been proven. The spirits of the Moore family and the 2 children who died with them still seem to haunt the house, waiting for someone to uncover the truth. Some believe that once the mystery is solved, the spirits will be free. Until then, the house stands as a monument to the darkness that still lingers in the town of Villisca. For those brave enough to seek the answers, the house offers only silence and shadows. The bloodstains may have faded, but the memories of that night remain etched in every creaking floorboard, every chilling draft. The darkness of Villisca is not just in the past, it's here, in the present, waiting for those who dare to unlock its secrets. And some believe that once the truth is revealed, it will be far more terrifying than anything they could have imagined. Sleepless in Villisca, nights haunted by the past. The small town of Villisca, Iowa, sits quietly under the shadow of a past that will never let go. A place where every creak of the floorboards, every rustling of the leaves in the wind, seems to whisper of a time long gone but never forgotten. The curse of Villisca is not just a part of its history. It is embedded in the very air, the soil, and the walls of its homes. And nowhere is this more evident than when the sun sets, casting long, eerie shadows across the streets. It is at night, when the world falls silent, that the true horrors of Villisca come alive, and the townspeople are left to battle the restless spirits that refuse to rest. The murders of Josiah and Sarah Moore, their 4 children and 2 visiting friends, all bludgeoned to death in their sleep with an axe in 1912, left a scare on Villisca that no one can escape. To this day, the house where the brutal crime occurred stands, its broken windows and sagging walls a testament to the horror that unfolded there. But it is not just the house that bears the weight of this tragedy, it is the entire town. Every night, the whispers of the past seem to rise from the earth, filling the air with an oppressive sense of dread. For the residents of Villisca, the nights are long, and sleep is a rare commodity. Many who live in the shadow of the murder house speak of strange dreams of the murdered family, of shadows moving in the dark, of unseen forces watching from the corners of their rooms. The dreams are always the same, vivid, suffocating, and filled with an overwhelming sense of loss. It is as if the spirits of the victims are trying to communicate, trying to tell their story, but their words are lost in the void between the living and the dead. Those who have lived in Villisca for generations claim that the curse of the Moore family has seeped into the very fabric of the town. At night, the streets are eerily quiet, and even the most ordinary sounds seem to take on a sinister quality. The wind howls through the trees, and the distant sound of a child's laughter echoes in the distance until you realize, with a start, that there are no children around. The town is filled with shadows that seem to shift and move just out of sight, as if the past is trying to break free. For the brave few who venture into the murder house after dark, the experience is even more unsettling. As soon as the door creaks shut behind them, the atmosphere changes. The air grows thick, heavy with the weight of what happened within those walls. The floors groan as if the house itself is alive, reliving the horrors of that fateful night. In the dark corners of the rooms, investigators have reported seeing fleeting figures, shadows, that dart away the moment they turn their heads. And then there are the sounds. Faint whispers, a child's cry, the unmistakable sound of footsteps behind them, though when they turn, no one is there. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of these nights in Villisca is the sensation of being watched. It's a feeling that creeps over you when you least expect it, a cold chill that runs down your spine, as if someone is standing just behind you, their breath on your neck. The locals say that it's the spirits of the Moore family, trapped in a cycle of torment, forever reliving their deaths. And when the town sleeps, they are awake, wandering the streets, searching for justice that will never come. Over the years, the stories have grown, each one darker than the last, each one more chilling. Some say that on particularly quiet nights, when the moon is hidden behind a cloud, you can hear the sound of an axe falling. It's a sound that cuts through the silence of the night, a sound that causes the heart to race and the mind to whirl with images of horror. But when you search for the source, when you go to the old house, the sound is gone. It is as if the night itself is mocking you, taunting you with the memory of what happened so long ago. For those who live in Villisca, the curse of the Moore family is not something that can be forgotten. It is a presence that haunts them every night, lingering in the back of their minds, reminding them that some horrors are too terrible to leave behind. No matter how far they try to escape, no matter how many years pass, the past refuses to stay buried. The spirits of the Moore family remain, eternally trapped in the nightmare of their final moments, and the town of Villisca is left to endure the haunting legacy they left behind. And so, the nights in Villisca stretch on, sleepless and full of terror. The town sleeps with one eye open, knowing that the past is never far behind, that the ghosts of the murdered family are still watching, still waiting for justice, and still trapped in a cycle of death and despair. The curse of Villisca is a reminder that some mysteries are never meant to be solved, and some spirits are never meant to rest. The curse of Villisca, a mystery that won't rest. Villisca, Iowa, is a town that has lived in the shadow of a crime so horrific, so incomprehensible, that the echoes of its tragedy continue to haunt the streets, even to this day. The curse of Villisca is not merely the story of a brutal massacre that claimed the lives of an entire family and 2 young friends, but of a mystery that refuses to rest, a malevolent force that clings to the town. chilling the bones of anyone who dares to uncover its secrets. In the small house on 2nd Street, Josiah and Sarah Moore, along with their 4 children and 2 visiting friends, were brutally murdered in their sleep. Bludgeoned with an axe, their lives were stolen without mercy, leaving behind a scene so gruesome that it could never be forgotten. The killer vanished into the night, leaving no trace, no suspect, just an unsolved mystery that became more haunting with each passing year. But as time wore on, something more sinister began to unfold. The restless spirits of the victims, trapped in a house soaked with their blood, began to reach out, not in peace, but in torment. The Villisca Axe Murder House stands as a grim reminder of the night when silence fell over the small town. The house, still standing after all these years, is now a place where shadows seem to linger longer than they should, and the air feels thicker, as though the very atmosphere is saturated with the pain of its past. Those who have entered the house to investigate, or simply to witness its chilling legacy, have reported unsettling occurrences, strange cold spots, whispers in the dark, and an undeniable presence that seems to follow them as they move through the rooms. The most disturbing aspect of the curse of Villisca is the sense that something or someone is still watching. Many have claimed to feel the weight of unseen eyes upon them, as if the spirits of the victims are trapped within the walls, forever reliving their last moments. Some claim to have heard the soft shuffle of footsteps behind them, or the unmistakable sound of a child crying out for help, only to turn and find nothing but empty space. Others have reported seeing shadows moving in the corners of their eyes, fleeting glimpses of figures that disappear when they are confronted. But it is not just the house itself that holds the curse. The town of Villisca is also caught in the grip of a restless energy, one that seems to seep into the land itself. People who live near the house or in the town often speak of strange occurrences of objects moving on their own, of doors opening and closing with no explanation, of a sense of dread that lingers in the air, even on the brightest of days. Those who have lived there for generations claim that the curse has seeped into the very soil, and that the spirits of the murdered victims are never far away. For years, investigators and paranormal experts have tried to unravel the mystery of Villisca, but each attempt only seems to deepen the enigma. The identity of the killer has never been confirmed, despite numerous theories and leads that have come and gone. Was it a local man with a dark past? An outsider who slipped into the town and vanished just as quickly? Some believe that the answer lies within the house itself, that the key to the mystery is buried deep within the walls, hidden by the killer in a desperate attempt to leave behind no trace. But whatever the truth may be, the spirits of the Moore family and their young guest remain, waiting for justice that may never come. Over the decades, the curse has claimed more than just the lives of its victims. It has claimed the lives of those who were drawn to it, those who sought to uncover the truth. The house has become a symbol of death, its walls bearing the weight of countless investigations and unanswered questions. The few who have dared to enter the house alone often speak of the overwhelming sense of dread that fills the air. Some have gone in, only to leave before dawn, their minds broken by what they've experienced. Others have entered and never returned. As time passes, the curse of Villisca shows no signs of weakening. It is as if the town itself has become a vessel for the restless spirits of the victims, trapped in a cycle of suffering that cannot be broken. The whispers grow louder, the shadows grow darker, and the town continues to hold its breath, as though waiting for a moment of reckoning that may never come. The curse of Villisca is not just a haunting, it is a warning. It is the story of a town that has never been able to forget, a story of lives lost and justice never served. It is a mystery that will never rest, a darkness that will never be fully understood. The spirits of Villisca will continue to reach out, to call out to anyone who dares to listen, until the truth is finally uncovered. But perhaps, in the end, some mysteries are not meant to be solved. Perhaps the curse of Villisca is a reminder that some things are better left buried in the past, lest they rise again to haunt us all. In the darkness of night, there are stories that haunt the mind long after the lights go out. The Villisca Axe Murders stands as one of the most chilling and perplexing tragedies in American history. In 1912, a brutal axe-wielding killer shattered a quiet family home, leaving behind a scene of unspeakable horror. Despite numerous investigations and theories, the mystery of the murders remains unsolved, forever engraving itself in the annals of terror. But the terror doesn't end there. In this spine-chilling collection, 10 Unsolved Horrors will pull you into a world where shadows conceal the truth, and every creak and whisper seems to speak of something sinister. These tales of the unknown and unexplainable will make you question what's lurking just beyond the edge of your vision. So, if you dare, watch these terrifying tales before bed, but be warned, once the haunting begins, it may never stop. Will you be able to sleep after hearing these stories, or will the horrors follow you into your dreams?